going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner.
Man, I'm confident in our offense.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube. Also, rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. Every sub that we get is one more passing yard that Justin Fields will throw this season. So let's get that all the way up to 4,000. And based on his last performance, it could be a lot more than that. We are also giving away a Darnell Wright jersey. Make sure that you can enter in by rating the show 5 stars out there on Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment. You can literally just be bear down. And if there's a way that we can contact you out there, if you end up winning, then we will also, when we reach 58 5 stars, is when we will give that away. And PayPal, we continue to donate money to St. Jude's until the end of the quarter. But PayPal, we saw some football. Bears end up winning. We are recapping it all here. How are you doing?
Doing great. As we talked about before, I love preseason. It's like my favorite time of the year, not only just for the Bears, but like for the whole NFL, roster and all the games. It's just fun. Like, us when we kind of went through all the draft stuff and like kind of for like being, oh yeah, like he's on that team, like watching the other games, be like, oh yeah, like Lucas Van Ness is on the Packers, or, you're watching other games, like, oh yeah, he's on that team. So it's been so fun. And the Bears, awesome having a win. But awesome that a lot of guys on my, that we were looking out for kind of shined and played pretty well. So the whole unit played great. So it was awesome. Yeah. And Skokes, Trevis Fountain, he got it. He got the contested catch that you wanted. Not surprised there because Trevis Fountain, I guess we'll talk about him later, but yeah, I'm not surprised he does that.
Yeah, and PayPal, Tyler's asking, is the mustache good juju for this season?
Oh yeah, for sure, Tyler.
Keep it growing.
Each subscriber will actually, I'll grow a little. I'll grow like an inch on my mustache.
Jesus Christ, a whole foot. It's going to be a gigantic mustache, ladies and gentlemen. Also, the glasses are staying on for the next 2 weeks. I can't stand wearing glasses. These were like my glasses in middle school, but yeah, I will be wearing glasses for the next couple weeks due to a slight little infection like we talked about last time. So they're good to go for all preseason.
Hey, they're good luck goggles. The good luck goggles and the good luck staff.
Yeah, if the Bears keep winning, and I mean it's just preseason, but if the Bears keep winning with these, they'll be my good luck goggles for sure. But PayPal, let's get right into it. Bears win 23-17 against the Tennessee Titans, 237 air yards, 100 on the ground, also 2 interceptions, and 8 sacks. You heard that right. 8 sacks for the Chicago Bears. PayPal, I guess it was such a good game. What was your overall impression? Just overall vibes?
Yeah, after the game, I mean, we were hyped. Like there were so many great plays, like turnovers committed from our defense, highlight plays from our offense, with the DJ Moore and the Khalil Herbert plays. There were so many just game-changing plays. It wasn't like our traditional Bears where it's like, all right, they're going to drive down the field in 20 offensive plays, and then the defense will kind of they'll shut down the other team, but there's no turnovers created. So this game, there was just so much positive highlight plays that came out of it, which just made it so fun to watch.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, like preseason, I think the big thing about it too is with the preseason, like we said, it's about kind of hearing like what we are hearing out of training camp, continuing into preseason. Are the people who stocks up staying up and playing well and kind of confirming that, right? Like I think of it similar to the scouting combine where you see what they can do on tape, and then the scouting combine confirms they're fast, confirms like these basic points that you made up to it. But PayPal, we're going to break it down in the different groups. And we got some feedback like, yeah, scrubs is probably a harsh word. It was the first thing we came up with. We put third string now. And I was like, third, fourth string. So it's just, we're calling it third string. If anybody has a better option rather than scrubs or third string, let us know down in the comments and we can change it for next show. But PayPal, we're breaking it down into 3 sections. But we're starting with our MVP. And my question to everybody is, who is your MVP from the starting group? PayPal, you said that this is the easy one. So who's the easy one?
Yeah, I honestly think this is an easy one. This was the guy that kind of, I think, woke up the entire team, the Chicago Bears team, and kind of got them in kind of the mode to play and be like, hey guys, let's play some ball. And that's Kyler Gordon, Brad. I thought Kyler Gordon was just like, he was worth the hype. Like all the hype kind of coming out of camp of like, yeah, he's just looking great. Like, he's Spider-Man for sure now. And then you just see him like laying out people. Like it was insane. And he wasn't getting picked on as well. It wasn't like, all right, we just keep seeing Kyler Gordon on the screen because he's getting picked on. It was kind of Tyreek Stevenson, but man, he can lay the wood. It just was awesome. It was so fun to watch him just tackle the guys and stuff, and just gets me so excited for this defense because I really think that's why we have him as nickel spot. Like he's almost like a safety. He's almost even like a linebacker, how he's able to play in the run. I want to go as far as a linebacker, but a safety playing in the run, but also being able to cover whoever's playing that slot wide receiver as well.
Man, I know we were talking backstage and you're like, oh yeah, this is easy. And in my head, I'm like, oh man, I'm choosing Kyler Gordon and he doesn't even know it. So yeah, we have the same guy because, dude, Kyler was great. Like you said, just with the hits that he was able to put on people. And also too, I have the PFF grades up right now. He was the highest graded defensive player on the Bears with an 88.2 coverage grade and an 87.3 overall grade. So the grades back it up, what we saw on tape. Just, yeah, to me, I think just because I'm not going to steal yours, Kyler Gordon was going to be mine. But if I have to go with another one, I think I'm seeing some people out there in the comments kind of say this too. DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore having that one catch, one touchdown. Like, what does DJ Moore bring? That. DJ Moore touchdown. Yeah, he didn't break 5 tackles in order to get into the end zone, but still, DJ Moore, he showed what this Bears team can be about. Because last year, yes, we had a lot of deep passes. In training camp, they haven't been throwing a lot of those deep passes. They've been throwing it shorter, and DJ Moore kind of showed why. He throws the short pass to him. He's able to make something out of it and score a touchdown. So DJ Moore to me is my MVP for the starters for this unit.
I love that pick because, man, what I think he'll really bring this off, he just makes touchdowns look so easy. You know what I mean? Like it seems like he wasn't even running fast, but then you see he's outrunning everyone on the other team. So he just makes touchdowns easy, Brad. And yeah, a great MVP, I would say. There was definitely a lot of other guys on this offense, like, Justin Fields. I think he played well, Brad. I don't know about you, but he played well. I wish we could have saw him actually maybe have a throw past 3 yards, but he looked good. Like it looked like he was running. He got out of the pocket nice and rolled out to throw to Khalil Herbert. But yeah, I was kind of hoping we could have maybe saw more from Justin Fields, but the stat line doesn't lie. He did great. He played in the system awesome.
Yeah, and I think it was Blazing Game, I think, but had the other catch or whatever. But no, never mind. I'm thinking about the other thing. But yeah, it was it was good. And I think too, PayPal with it, like I feel with Justin Fields, because now, and I posted this meme out for those that have seen it out on Twitter and Instagram and everything, about how the Packer fans will yell, it was 3 dump-offs. But for the Bears, it's 129 yards, 3 touchdowns, right from Justin Fields. And I want to say this, right? It doesn't mean Justin Fields is insane. And I know that we know this as Bears fans. We want to get all up in the Packer fans' faces and show off what our quarterback just did. But in the back of our minds, we know that those were just passes. But at the same time, yeah, the one to Khalil Herbert, that's a good pass. That's going out of the pocket. That's throwing it to him. And that's also doing what you're told. You were 3 for 3. You were perfect at what you needed to execute. You can't ask for more. You can't do more than that. And he did what was expected of him. And he didn't suck. That's exactly what you wanted to see. So I don't think that it means that he's going to be an MVP. I don't mean it's exactly what you wanted to see out of him. But yeah, it did kind of stink because we wanted to see more.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, honestly, I think you would have probably missed one of those throws last year, if we're being honest. Like the one to DJ Moore could have been a little bit better, but normally last year he probably would have completely overthrown both of those screens. Like that was not his strong suit last year. But yeah, I don't know if we want to keep talking about kind of like the positives of this first quarter kind of team.
Yeah, let's talk overall with that because we didn't see them for very long, the offense and the defense. But I guess just what was your take on the little minimum that we saw with the offense?
Yeah, for the offense, I mean, I liked it. I mean, we kind of saw our offensive line just completely hustle and get out there for those screens and get out there. I don't know what that play was with Khalil Herbert, but it was like kind of a designed screen, it seemed like, but it didn't really, it was different.
I heard him say that because two linebackers were running at him, he had to like pretend he was blocking, so it took a little bit longer than what was expected. Like he said it during an interview, like in the locker room, real quick. So that's probably you're right though. It did take a little bit longer.
Yeah, it was like it took a while to develop, but yeah, our offensive line, they got out there nice and quick. Darnell Wright, I think he looked good. Kind of wish he didn't have sleeves on there. You know, I like our offensive line without sleeves. You know,
agreed.
Like, especially, what is he gonna do in the cold? In the cold, like, is he gonna double up or something in a sweater? But I liked our play out of offensive line. Kind of was hoping for Khalil Herbert to have more of a, like a highlight play or something as well, like in the running game, not in the passing game. I was hoping to maybe, he had a 11-yard run, but wasn't, consistently getting 4 or 5 yards. But yeah, I feel like everyone else, I generally couldn't, there wasn't too many other plays, honestly, we got to see from this offense.
Yeah, I'll echo what you said too, where I thought that the offensive line, you saw the athleticism of what they were able to do. Darnell Wright, yes, it was short. It was only 3 snaps, but in the passing game, he was okay. I mean, he was good, like didn't do anything bad. Running game, there was a play that he did decently well at, but I thought that there was another, yet again, we're talking about 4 snaps that he took on the running perspective. But yeah, I think what he did is the offense showed their athleticism. They showed what they can do. They showed the explosiveness. And also, if David Montgomery gets that screen, he's taking it 10 yards.
Yeah, right.
Like, let's be real here. And yeah, Khalil Herbert doesn't have the fastest home run speed, but you saw what he was able to do and break those 3 tackles in order to get into the end zone. But another thing, too, that I thought was interesting was just how Khalil Herbert was the only number 1 running back. He was with the ones, and then he was gone. What do you take of that? Because I don't really think that's. I know a lot of people are jumping on he's the true starter, but to me personally, I felt like I don't believe that. I think it was just easier for them to sub people in.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of believe it that he would be kind of the number 1, but as we saw, I think it was the pass to Blazing game that he just completely whiffed on a block. It was the worst pass. It was such a bad pass block. If anyone wants to rewatch it, it was a really bad pass block. So I think that kind of gives me shied away of kind of like, all right, he's not going to be used in the passing game. But a guy like Roshan, we can talk about a little bit more, but like that guy could be used more in the passing game with his pass blocking and his receiving.
And we know Jeff Joniak said, we were talking about it, like he said that is the best pass blocking running back he's ever seen. And Joniak's been with the Bears for as long as I can remember.
Since the 85 Bears. So 40, 40 years about.
Yeah, so he's been here forever. And to say that that's the best pass blocking running back he's seen, and we've said this on the show, you don't expect rookies to be able to pass block like the way he can. So I think that is, and we talked about this, Roschon can have a path if Khalil keeps whiffing on these blocks. But let's go over to the defensive side of the ball. And with these starters, I was a little disappointed, to be honest with you, just to see them drive. And it's the second string Titans offense that was driving on us. And I want to say this because I'm drinking out of a Wisconsin cup and you got the Wisconsin flag. Sanborn to me was a little disappointing, not raising alarm bells, but I didn't think that it was his best game. I thought that he overcommitted a couple times to the run, and then that caused, like you saw the big Tyjae Spears run, a lot of that was because Sanborn overcommitted and tried to jump the gap. He wasn't quite fast enough, wasn't able to bring him down, and because of that, Spears was able to go a little bit farther. So I want to just start on a bad note because we let them score. And we as Bears fans don't want people running all over us. So
I felt the same way. I was kind of disappointed almost in our linebacking crew. Like they didn't really make any plays out there. After all this hype of obviously Tremaine Edmonds was out there, but we didn't see anything really from TJ Edwards or Jack Sanborn. Obviously Kyler Gordon, we touched on him. Tyreek Stevenson, part of the first team. You can definitely tell it seems like he's Kyler Gordon of last year. He will need those reps. They're trying to give him as many reps as he can. So that's why we just saw so much of him. Honestly, though, the defensive line, I was pretty happy with, though, Brad. Like they weren't, insane, but like they looked good out there. Dominique Robinson kind of looks a lot smarter out there. I don't know if you watched him at all, but he just seems like he actually knows what he's doing out there. Like last year, it was like he would just try to use his power. He'd try to use his speed, but they had that stunt with Zach Pickens and it was Zach Pickens, but it opened up Zach Pickens and then he got the sack. So Dominique Robinson, I think definitely you can see he's matured a lot.
Yeah, and just talking about the defensive line, I thought it was okay. The person that surprised me was, because we'll talk about Trevis GIpson with the second team and what he was able to dominate, how he was able to just absolutely dominate. I look at a Rasheem Green because I go, I don't really want him on the team. He's the veteran, he's older, and I love Trevis. I want to see him on it. Terrell Lewis is turning heads, and he got 2 sacks. To me, I don't want Rasheem Green, but Rasheem Green looked good. Yeah. It was very, very, very limited snaps, but he's good against the run, and he made a good pass rush move. I thought that Rasheem Green looked solid, and for someone who wants other people to take his job, I got to give him credit where credit is due. He looked good, and I think it's going to make it a lot more difficult when we break down the defensive ends to say who should be the defensive ends. It's going to be a difficult decision for the Bears to make. But you also talked a little bit about Tyreek Stevenson. I want to bring something up on him. So he had 7 tackles, 1 pass breakup, 1 tackle for loss, 6 for 8 for 50 yards when targeted, which is not great, but still, like you said, he looks the part. He looks like he can. It's not like something that you're nervous about. And that big play that he let up, the first play of the game, he told, I believe, Nicholas Moriano, he said, the reason why I did that was I was so amped up. I was so excited to be playing. He's like, nerves got the best of me. I saw him juke in, and I just kind of like blacked out and lost where he was. And then he got this huge amount of yards. So he at least fessed up to it, but still, you saw what the rookie could do. He made good tackles. He made solid plays. I'm not concerned at all.
Very, very physical corner and has the speed too. That's something that surprised me was his kind of his catch-up speed. If he did get blown from a coverage, he was able to catch up and tackle his man. So, man, like very physical quarters with Kyler Gordon and Tyreek Stevenson. Very physical, just defense, and you gotta like it. I think they did kind of disappoint with letting up a touchdown right away, but all around, like you're kind of excited for each individual player on the team.
Yeah. And so I think that let's get into the most interesting group, I'd say, for the second string, the players that kind of played during the second quarter and the third quarter. Let's talk about our MVPs for the second string. So, PayPal, can I start with this one?
Yeah, you can go ahead. I know who you're gonna choose.
You better believe
go
it.
Ahead.
So question your MVP for the second string, because mine, I gotta give it. Trevis GIpson was insane. And I just closed out of my Twitter tab because I posted this out on Twitter. I posted like the pass rush win rates. Trevis GIpson's pass rush win rate was 21.9. That's nuts. That is absolutely insane. He looked like a starter out there going against backups. And that's exactly what you wanted to see out of him. He was a man on a mission. Last year, he had the best pass rush win rate for the Bears, which was 8.9. Dude's going out there at basically 22%, dominating his guys, getting in the backfield, creating all sorts of havoc. And yeah, he only ended the day with what, 1 sack on the day? Let's see. Yeah, 1 sack. But still, when you actually watch the tape, because I've rewatched this game, I think 4 or 5 times now. He's insane. Just every single play, he was doing something. He was knifing back there. Now, the big question, I didn't watch the All-22 yet, was how did that impact others, right? We know that he smacked into Javon Dexter's knee, but
yeah,
he was just a dog out there. Like, he did not want to go down. He did not want to get cut. You saw just what he was capable of. He needs to keep bringing that, because in training camp, he has not shown this ferocity. So putting him at the back end of the roster made him the dude. MVP. I feel like he would have been your MVP as well, right?
Yeah, he was definitely my MVP. It's hard because there's a lot of the second stringers that, like, I wouldn't say completely impressed me. It wasn't like, oh my, like how Trevis GIpson, like he was just, you could just notice he was on a mission. He was on a mission. Like, we were worried for him. We're like, he's gonna like hurt himself, because he was just, after every play, he would just seemed like he was giving 110% and like falling to the ground and just going crazy. But yeah, I gotta say, my MVP. Now this one's kind of tough for me, Brad. I would say Zach Pickens. I think he kind of like showed up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, if we're not talking, there's a lot of guys on that third string that impressed me.
You're not going Terrell Lewis?
Terrell Lewis, I guess. I mean, if he's technically part of the second string,
I would say second string. He played out there with.
Yeah, I would say, then if he's part of the second string, I'll do Terrell Lewis, because 2 sacks, I believe.
Yeah.
And he definitely looks like a pass rusher. If we need a pass rusher, he just looks like he's easily able to get to the quarterback. And you just got to love that he's going for the ball when he's behind the quarterback and stripping it. Like, that just shows kind of his experience and what he'll bring if we do keep him. So it's crazy. He's only 24 though. He's got 4 years in the NFL and he's 24. So honestly, a great pickup. And like, you talk about Rasheem Green, he's a little bit older. Like, I'm fine if we have Terrell Lewis over him or something, because he can produce.
Yeah, and we talked about Jadeveon Clowney because that was brought up a lot on Thursday. It seemed like there was a couple of videos that were like, "Oh, Jadeveon Clowney to the Bears," and like we said, the Bears talked to Jadeveon Clowney and had interest in him before they signed Yannick. And this is where it's a clustered room for sure. Also, Trevis GIpson is getting paid the most out of these defensive ends. I thought it was going to be Rasheem Green, so they could factor in the cap. But yeah, I thought that these defensive ends played very well. And I think that's the story of this second half was the line. And yeah, Joseph saying that Pickens and Dexter, yeah, they were giving the center and guards company the whole time. One thing that I will say, when we were watching it with everybody, I remember my dad and I, like, we were talking back and forth, and we're like, yeah, Dexter does need to work on his technique, though. And I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? We see the strength. When you see him, the dude just pushes people and he's got this gorilla inhuman strength to him that he's stronger than everybody else out there. But the guy just needs to learn how to play. The guy, it's actually, that sounds so bad. He needs to learn his technique. He needs to be coached up, and he's got the sky's the limit for this man's potential. He hasn't even scratched the surface yet, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it seems like he was more of like a nose tackle almost in college, and now he's kind of that D tackle, over the guard a little bit more. So I think he's got to get used to that, and yeah, he just has to stay low. That's the big thing. Like, you kind of saw like him and Zach Pickens are just kind of a little bit different, because Zach Pickens definitely uses a lot more of his technique to get around the guys and everything.
Yeah.
And Javon's just straight
Speed.
Power. And
also, one thing that we were talking about when we were watching the game together, the dude needs to get out when he's injured in the preseason. I understand that everybody wants to see you, but dude, just get he's like,
our heart
poking at his
stopped.
knee.
It was like, it's like, dude, don't mess it up. Like, it's like,
Don't
get out, please.
It's like, you're hurt, and then he comes off right afterwards. So I hope he's okay, because you're like, dude, just get off the field, live to play another down. Like, we don't need you to show off your toughness right now. We know you are a mountain of a man. Like, you are tough. We know, but just stay healthy. Like, especially with your knees when you need that at that defensive line spot. So, but other than the D line, the second string, quarter 2, quarter 3, anything else kind of stand out to you with this defense?
Yeah, this defense, I would say, Noah Sewell actually looked pretty, kind of what I expected. He looked good. He got tackles. Didn't really make a highlight play. He had that tackle on the outside. That was pretty good. It's really sad that Terrell Smith wasn't out there. I was so sad that he wasn't out there. I was really looking forward to maybe see him kind of play pairing with Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson. That would have been kind of fun, having the two rookies out there kind of battling it out. But yeah, I would say Jalen Jones was a guy that kind of disappointed me on that second team. He was showing up in special teams, but then on the secondary, he just seemed like he was never really, playing out there. It just wasn't really in like a spot. But yeah, it was the second team defense definitely played, honestly, I think, with a lot more energy than our first team defense, it seemed.
I agree. I didn't see much of Jalen Jones except for special teams. Dude was insane. At special teams. He's like, I'm just going to get every single tackle on special teams. Don't worry about that. And I'll be on every play. So I think that's also where you see Kindle Vildor, right? Because he was another bottom of the roster person. He comes in at the very end of the game, while Trevis GIpson, bottom of the roster, quote unquote, according to the depth chart, he's playing with the second team, right? Yeah. So I think that shows you, like, Kindle, it's like, why not just move on from him right now? It's clear that the Bears don't really want him out there. Just move on. When you put him out there with the other people, it's like, just give him a chance somewhere else, because people will probably like him. And the Atlanta Falcons will pick him up today. Because Ryan Pace will trade. He'll be like, I'll give you a 6 for him. I'll give you a 5th. Actually, no, I'll give you 2 once.
Yeah, he's like, that's my guy.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's my guy.
You're making him look bad out there.
But someone because another kind of disappointing was Josh Blackwell wasn't out there. Those are like 2 guys. It was like, they'd been so fun to watch out there. But Adrian Colbert was
still
really, it was awesome, Brad. He was actually really great. Honestly, he could have been a kind of MVP running of like, wow, like, I know he's old and we're kind of crapping on him for that, but he's good. Like, he made that great tackle to make the force the fumble, and just seemed like he was in the right position and showed his experience in the game.
Yeah, and I don't think we were crapping on him all that bad. I think it was
Yeah,
more. I
yeah,
think it was more of just like, okay, so with Colbert, he's older. He's 29 years old, and we'd rather want to see those younger people step up. But I remember you and I, we looked at each other after he made that play, and we go, well, maybe we need some veteran
yeah,
depth.
yeah.
Maybe we need, because we know what Elijah Hicks is, that backup, and he's been solid. And he's not going to be amazing. Like, I'm looking at his PFF grade, just looking at that 64.5, which is like very average, slightly above average for what he did. And yeah, that's what you kind of expect out of Elijah Hicks. Yeah, Colbert looked good. So if AJ Thomas had an interception, which is the fourth safety, but if we keep 5, whether it's Kendall Williamson or if it is an Adrian Colbert, just to kind of add a little bit of that extra depth, we'll see. But also another person I just want to call out, Micah Baskerville, played well, I thought, at the linebacker position. Here's this undrafted rookie free agent fighting his way onto this team, potentially away from a DeMarquise Gates again. Maybe DeMarquise Gates won't be on the team, and then Baskerville comes in. Baskerville's been looking pretty solid out there at the linebacker position. But let's go over to the offensive side of the ball real quick, where I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Bears have 2 of the highest graded offensive linemen according to PFF. Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
The 2 highest graded offensive linemen across the NFL, Ja'Tyre Carter and Larry Borum. Believe it or not. And yeah, with 93.9 grades, their run blocking grades were all above 90s, but their pass blocking grade, Larry Borum's was an 83, Ja'Tyre Carter's was an 85. I thought that this line was interesting. I want to just start right there. The backup line was not bad. And Alex Leatherwood, who we've said is a turnstile, has been a turnstile, he wasn't that bad at pass blocking. I thought he was great at pass blocking. His run snaps, when I was watching it back, there was a handful where he was getting handled in the run blocking. Yep. But in the pass blocking, I got to give this dude some credit. I don't think he let up a single pressure. He looked very good there. And I thought that the line played well. Doug Kramer looked good. I just thought overall, the offensive line, the second team, was shockingly surprised.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I was thinking about giving Ja'Tyre Carter my MVP. But then I was kind of getting I was getting playbacks of him getting pancaked. There's that one play he got pancaked, and I was like, oh man. Like,
oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
But I was like, he played with the first stringers. He played with the second stringers. Like, he looked good, and I had high hopes for him, and he definitely kind of exceeded those expectations. But Tyler Scott, Brad, I was a little, if we're talking about like kind of on the low end of things, I was a little bit disappointed because he kind of affirmed that he seems like a deep threat guy, and that's what he is right now. Just because, he caught a ball in the middle of the field, but then he just looks so fragile almost when he's running. Like, Mooney doesn't look fragile when he's running, but Tyler Scott does.
He put himself in a lot of positions to get drilled. It reminded me of Kevin White, whenever he grabbed the football, you're always like, White, just go down. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
He's got to just learn how to get tackled, as weird as that sounds. Like, Justin Fields had to learn to get tackled. He needs, like, every time he got hit, it was like, woof. Like, dude, he got, like, yet again, he's never been tackled in the NFL. Now, I remember some pros saying, they're like, in the NFL, in NCAA, you can like pretend to, like, you can juke, you can stand up, and then you're fine, and then you just like get out of it, or it's slower. He's like, but in the NFL, if you don't go down, 2 other dudes are smacking you in the face.
Yeah.
He's like, you got to go down. And that's exactly what Tyler Scott was doing. He's like, I'm free. And then bam, bam. Like, who fumble.
Yeah. And that's something, it was interesting. I mean, we can talk a little about Velas. I think Velas looked good. He looked like a receiver, you know? I mean, he kind of got that comeback route, like great reception from him. Like he looked like he was able to play receiver because he seemed like more of just a deep threat guy as well. Um, but something that's kind of concerning, I mean, this is kind of veering off almost into special teams, but I feel like this is a good time to talk about it, is our two return people fumbled. We're the only two people that fumbled on this team.
That's a good
That
point.
is something
That's
that
a good
definitely
point.
it concerns me. You know, like Velus Jones is, you know, the he was doing punt returns, and then Tyler Scott was in the kick returns. It's like that kind of concerns me. And it's like we got someone like Nasima Webster, and then we got Dante Pettis, who just never did any of that stuff wrong. So like it kind of makes me think when those guys still did that, especially Velus still fumbling it. It's like, should we just kind of go back to? I know these guys kind of have that quote unquote potential, like Velus Jones, but should we go back and just keep a Pettis or keep a Nasima Webster, because those
Yeah.
guys haven't turned over the ball.
I think it's up to Scott, right? And I hate saying this, but how can you as a coaching staff, like how much confidence do you still have in Velus? And we jokingly said this when we were watching the game. We're like, at least he didn't drop it, but he fumbled it off of a bounce, and it was a dumb play by him. And also, too, the special teams coordinator was saying how great it was that Velus was getting under every punt in practice, and he was running to it. He didn't get under both of those. He let it bounce, and we saw what he's capable of doing in the punt return game. We saw that last season, and he looked great, but he fumbled it, and that's why he wasn't out there. But he was clearly our best punt returner, but he needs to be reliable, and it's hard to catch those. If you've ever seen somebody like a normal Joe try and catch a punt, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It's hard how high it goes, how much you have to run, people running at you, but you are a pro, and this needs to be your job. This is what you have to do, and I see a lot of people saying Velus could be a cap casualty. I mean, could be cut and could be that surprise. Do I think that they have lost that much faith?
No.
I don't think that they've lost that. I think that they've lost faith as a punt returner, but as a receiver, he could run routes, but yet again, he's dropping it. And I think that's going to be the bigger question is, do other people trust him?
Yeah, I think Eberflus trusts him. Like he was kind of talking in the interview that the Tennessee Titans punter is really good apparently, and was kind of saying that the way he was punting it, I'm not, punting expert, but he's saying the way he's punting it, like the spin and stuff on it, is really hard to catch. And maybe seems like maybe the first couple times that he's ever seen that punt and try to catch it. So I think I hope it's like a learning curve for Velus. I mean, you still got to say he's in his second year, even though he's like 26 years old. He's still learning. So that's what you hope, that he learns from the experience. And honestly, I think Eberflus kind of went out of his way to kind of be like, hey, like he's going to learn. And, I think he has trust in Velus. So I think we should.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, we just got to see what he's capable of. And hopefully, you got to get back into practice. You got to prove everyone wrong. If you want to change the narrative, right? Keep dropping it. You keep fumbling it. You got to do something. And I know your boy Mon said, hey, he's like, you got to use him like Debo. That is something that I know we've brought up too, where it's, can you use him as kind of that running back, use him as a player like that? That could be, it's hard because we could use that last year because like what he's saying here, we had C-grade receivers, but now we have other playmakers. We'll see what they end up doing later on. Also, I do want to touch base on Alex Leatherwood. I am curious how he plays next game. I'm definitely going to be watching him more because I was curious, how has he played in preseason games before? And I'm basing this because I don't really want to watch preseason tape on Alex Leatherwood. I just went to the PFF grades, so if someone doesn't like it, I didn't want to watch it. But Alex Leatherwood has graded similarly in the preseason to what he did last game. So he graded like as a 65 last game, And the years before, I think he was like 56 last year, but then like 63 the year before that. So even though that he was looking better, let's see. Time will tell what he's going to be capable of. But yeah, I thought for someone who is regarded as the worst pass blocking player in the NFL, he did very well pass blocking. I thought that his run blocking was a little suspect. There was a couple plays where he was blown back right into the other players.
Yeah.
But also another group, because we're kind of lumping in the second and third quarters together into one little portion, the running backs. Because another person that we have been down on, and because of his performance last season, was Treston Ebner. Now, good old cement shoes, as we call him, he looked faster. I will give him credit. He looked faster. He looked quicker. It's unfortunate that he went down. When we saw that, we're like, that looks like a collarbone right there. Hopefully he can come back. But he looked a lot faster. And we mentioned this before, was that cement shoes moniker because he was banged up, because he was hurt. Something happened. Because that's not what he looked like on tape. That's not what he looked like in Baylor, because he was bad. But still, I think when you see him running the football compared to others, he has that different style where he's not trying to just run straight up, straight forward like a lot of the other Bears running backs. He's trying to go for the big play. And do the Bears like that? He kind of has that David Montgomery in him where he's always looking and trying to do a million different things, you know?
Yeah, I know. I personally, I don't like that running style at all from, seeing what Khalil Herbert could do. And, I kind of wish we could have saw a little bit more from Donta Foreman, but
Yeah.
we just saw that he's a huge running back. He seems like if we need to get those hard yards, Donta Foreman can do it. And Treston Ebner, yeah, he was just very like indecisive, and he does have that speed, but it's just, I like getting those 4 yards. And if you can get more, just run straight, like it seems like he's kind of that. He'll get 2 yards, or like he'll get like -1 yard, or he'll get 20, he'll get that big play. Kind of want that more like consistency, but
I still think
yeah.
Treston, even though that he was like technically the third running back to play, I still think he's the odd man out, because you see they like Homer from the special teams perspective. Yeah, he was the last one to get snaps, but he gives you so much from the special teams perspective. I think that Ebner's still the odd man out unless he looks insane, right? And I just don't see that really happening. He might just be a practice squad player that somebody ends up just picking off of our list, right?
Yeah, and kind of, I don't know how much you have kind of with the second team still, but yeah, just quick thing with like PJ Walker. He does not look like, I'm not confident, if Justin Fields goes down, he just does not look like the guy that could like take over for a game. It seems like he has a really, really nice deep ball. He could throw to Tyler Scott or something. But besides that, it's like, I don't know. Like, it's like you kind of almost hope for like a Nathan Peterman or Dyson Badgett to step in, almost like, because
Dyson Badgett, let's be real here.
yeah. It's like hopefully one of those guys can kind of step in or something, because PJ Walker I was not having it, and I was kind of disappointed with that.
I agree too, because I've heard reports that he hasn't been good out of camp. Like a lot of people said, he just hasn't been looking good. He was bad. He did not look good. 5 for 10 or 4 for 8, 1 interception. And yeah, it just didn't look close. Like there's plays where he missed Roshan, and he missed a handful of other players. He didn't look that great. And it's one of those negative storylines where you hear the bad stuff out of camp, and then he looks bad in preseason. So now change it. Or hopefully Fields doesn't miss a game so that we don't have to see it. That's the obvious hope, but we've brought up Fields' injury history before. Chances are we're probably going to see PJ Walker or a backup quarterback at one point in the season. It's the way Fields has been throughout his career, unless he understands how to take a hit, and if he's running less, that'll definitely help. But yeah, I don't feel comfortable with it at all right now, to be honest with you. But PayPal, let's get into this third string. I think Roshan put him in the third string because he kind of was dropped into the second string because of the injury to Ebner. So we're saving him for the third string. PayPal, who is your third string? Your bottom, I think bottom of the roster might be what we call this. The bottom of the roster guys.
Yeah.
Who is your third string MVP?
See, this is the one. I think there's a lot of guys that we can kind of like bunch in here that I just got so excited for seeing, but one guy, I remember, like, we talk about, Dave Montgomery had his run, he had the run. It was, I think, against the Packers, or it was like the Texans or something. Roshan Johnson, Brad. That run is going to play rent free in my head forever. Like, that was his first run that he'd ever had in the NFL. And it was what, 24 yards?
24 yards, yeah.
24 yards. And like, he broke 3 or 4 tackles. And it was like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, Brad. It was so beautiful. And like, I think that's what I kind of envision his running style of. It's just that downhill. He can get speed, but he also his legs just keep moving, and he's so hard to take down. So, man, like, that was awesome because I think we were all so hyped to see him run and see what he could do, and he definitely gets that MVP spot for me.
Yeah, he's a tank. And when you were talking about Donta Foreman, just how he's big body, able to plow people over, that's what Roshan does. And that's exactly what he did, where even though that Travis Homer had a good game, there was a couple runs where it's like, that's Roshan Johnson. If Roshan Johnson has that carry, he gets 10 yards.
Yeah.
Like when Travis Homer's running to the right and someone kind of like trips him up, Roshan gets that ball, that dude's running 10, 15 yards. He's breaking past that. He looked good. And also, I didn't really even see him pass blocking, and I really wanted to see him out there. He caught the ball. And I know at training camp, seeing Roshan, he didn't separate well in the training camp snaps I saw, but whenever he got the ball, when it was thrown his way, he caught it. That's exactly what he did, where he caught it in traffic. Alex Leatherwood should have had the block on the screen, but still, he's able to bring in the ball and get you positive yards. He looked good. He looked very good. And now I'm like, I really want him to start. Right?
Yeah, right.
I really want him to start now.
I do too, Brad.
Because he's fun, and I definitely want to see what Khalil can do. Because the way he runs the football reminds me of Nick Chubb. The way Khalil Herbert runs reminds me of Nick Chubb, that is. And Roshan, just his power, what he's able to, like, how he's being able to block for the number one guy. And that's where Foreman, he's not the sexy player, but he's played well.
Good.
He's played well. And I think that's the hardest part for a Roshan Johnson. He has to show what he can do in these games, and then hopefully he can be starting to move his way up. But it is hard when other people are doing well, except for Khalil Herbert whiffing on that passing block. So, like, you got to do that. If that's the only time you're blocking, you have to hit that block, man. But I tried to buy myself some time for this MVP for the defense. All right, I've got to think of defense. I could give it to Tyson Bagent. Bagent looked pretty good. But I'm gonna give it to the big guy. I'm gonna give it to Travis Bell. Come on.
Yeah, right?
Right? Is sack, like, how can't you root for this guy? I doubt that he's actually 6 foot. He looks 5'10" and a perfect ball. Like, but you see the athleticism. They dropped him in coverage, and you see the speed of this guy and why the Bears like him so much, why Ryan Poles loves him, and he gets a sack, and you see how much the team loves him. You see the fire that he brings, even though that it was just 1 sack, or ESPN's going to claim that it was a half a sack. He was good, and it was fun to see him out there. I got to give it to him because he's just a good dude too.
Yeah, I think that, that's a great pick. He's probably the kind of big guy that shined. Yeah, Travis Bell is my hero.
I love it.
He he is my hero too. Like you could see, I don't know if he was crying, but after that sack when he came out
Bro.
of the bench, he just seemed so like overwhelmed of like, oh my gosh, I just did it.
Yeah.
Like I got a sack in the NFL. So
He had a
man, like
7.1% pass rush win rate, which is good in the NFL. And yeah, he's going against backups, but yeah, I thought it was a good showing.
yeah, we're not saying like, Travis Bell's gonna be like our next like big thing, but like I think he could maybe be like one of those guys in the practice squad and maybe work his way up, or possibly be, if we do really want to have five, D tackles, he could be that fifth. But
Yeah.
like yeah, I agree with you, Brett. I think he played well. Like we talked about, is he going to kind of beat out Bavarian Bravian Roy from Carolina? And like, I think he did. He definitely looked a lot better than that experienced guy out of from the Panthers. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It'll be interesting because Bravion Roy, I was looking, his win rate, 16.7%. Yet again, it's just a stat, but Bravion Roy still had a good game as well.
yeah,
And I think that's where you talk about the defensive tackle depth potentially. Who's going to be more consistent? But at the same time, Ryan Poles loves Travis Bell. Like, that's his dude. Like, I don't think that he's going to keep him on the practice squad for risk of him being gone. Also, thank you, New Harper.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see. But Bravion Roy looked good, but I also got to give it to these other two guys who are going to be up there. And yet again, defensive line. There's a reason why the Bears had 8 sacks. Let's give it up for Jalen Harris and DeAnthony Jones.
Yeah.
Jalen Harris, we didn't really talk too much about. He's the guy undrafted out of Arizona. DeAnthony Jones, 23.1% pass rush win rate. That's the dude out of Houston, the tweener we talked about before. Number 63, the person who popped in camp for me because he just looked fast. He looked quick for the size, and he looked good. He looked good.
Yeah.
He got a sack at least. He got in the QB's faces. It was good to see. Now, Titans, I have heard their offensive line isn't that great, but you can only win against who you're up against. The defensive line, everybody says that's the weakest part of this defense. The defensive line, especially the depth, came to play. And when you have these undrafted rookie free agents, because Jalen Harris also had a 23.1% pass rush win rate, that's some legit talent that you want to have on that practice squad, because we've already talked about how insanely competitive this defensive end room is going to be for this Bears team.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like we were looking at this like defensive end room probably, last week at this time, and was Yannick on this team? Maybe a week and a half or so. And it was like man, it looks terrible having Rasheem Green starting and all this stuff. And it's like, dang, Rasheem Green looks good. We have Yannick, who's been an absolute beast in practice so far. And then, yeah, all these backups are just stepping up, like Trevis GIpson, Jalen Harris. Yeah, I was so surprised with Jalen Harris. Like, he looks like he almost it's weird. He kind of reminded me of Terrell Lewis. They kind of played the same way. Like, they have the same kind of body and size, and kind of they're quick, but they also have a little bit of power to their game. And he just looked very fluid for being a rookie, I would say. And DeAnthony Jones, he fits. I think he fits in this scheme really well. But yeah, like more guys on this defense, Brad. Buddy Johnson, didn't really see much out of him.
No,
Buddy Johnson, I know. Sorry, Buddy Johnson, but
great name.
Honestly, Barrington Wade was like an interesting guy. I don't think I wouldn't say like, oh my gosh, like look at him, he's amazing. But like he's kind of he caught my eye. He caught my eye, out of kind of that linebacking crew, because Luol Deng, we like to call him. It's County Dang or something.
Dang was bad, yeah.
Yeah, Dang did not look good. Buddy Johnson didn't really do much, but yeah, Wade made some plays. He deflected that ball in the end zone. Yeah, he's got my, I'm gonna be watching him next game for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I want to call attention to a comment. George Hall was saying, we are worried about Noah Sewell. Noah Sewell might beat out Jack Sanborn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Sewell wasn't like insane. Sewell played well, right? And Sewell has been playing well in camp. Now he's starting to get his NFL legs on him. He's starting to get those instincts, and I thought you saw that as well. Jack Sanborn did not have a good game, and he in coverage was a liability. I thought that in the running game he was out of position, and yeah, it was. Let me see how many snaps. 12 total snaps, so it wasn't a lot, but still. You got to make it. You got to take advantage of those snaps, especially since Sanborn has been banged up. But yeah, let's keep talking about this third string. Yeah, I think that you covered those guys pretty well. Yeah, but Trahan, I believe it is, interception. He had 2 interceptions, I think, on one on Fields and one on PJ Walker in training camp. He's making plays, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to see out of somebody as this UDFA safety that's coming in, made turnovers back in his college days. So it's nice to see him get that game-sealing interception, get that play, because, yeah, do I think he's going to make the active roster? No, but as a practice squad hopeful, you love to see it.
I like it. Yeah, he is. He's got some swag too, Brad. I love, because he even had that really hard tackle, he went in there, and I think he celebrated way too much for the guy still holding onto the ball, but he brought that energy, and I think that's something you just you want your safeties, you want everyone on your defense to bring an energy and kind of fear to the other to the offense. So I liked him too. I think he's a great practice squad guy as well.
Yeah, and let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball. Talk a little bit about that bunch of offensive linemen that. Yeah, they just kind of were like picking up. Also, I wanted to bring this up as well because we talked about Avion Collins last time as someone to look out for. I thought that he struggled in pass blocking, and actually the PFF grade agreed as well. I just didn't like what I saw out of him as that right tackle because I was hoping for a little bit more with him beating out a Kellen Diesch. And overall, Avion Collins, it wasn't like he was bad. I mean, I didn't like his pass blocking, but compared to the rest of the line, yeah, I thought that he struggled a little bit. But PayPal, we got to talk about Tyson Bagent. Tyson Bagent, Hall of Famer, like, pressing Justin Fields for a roster for a QB1, right?
I agree, Brett. I don't know. Honestly, Nathan Peterman didn't look bad either. Surprise, if we're talking they kind of had a similar game to me. Tyson Bagent, he looked comfortable, like it sounded like in camp there he was kind of throwing turnovers, like he didn't really look comfortable. But man, for his first preseason game, he looked pretty darn good out there. And there was that one throw, was that crossbody throw rolling out to the left.
Yeah, that was a good throw.
It was a perfect throw. Like that is something. It's just such a difficult throw for anyone, and he just made it look so easy. So I think we have something with that Tyson Bagent. Like, I wouldn't be saying this, but like, could he be
QB1?
Could he be QB? Could he be QB2 for Justin Fields eventually?
Yeah.
Like, that is a little bit blown up, I know, but like, I'm just looking down the line. Like, if he keeps doing kind of this, and PJ Walker keeps playing like this as well, is he going to kind of take his spot, or is Nathan Peterman gonna get up?
I agree with Skokes. Like, right, put him in instead of Peterman. But this is also, why not try UDFAs, bring them in? It's that idea of drafting quarterbacks even when you have one. Because I know we were all gung-ho for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He looked good. And that's someone where it's like, yeah, you don't want him to, he's not the replacement of Fields. It's that simply getting that next person in line, that next person ready. So if someone goes down, you have that in-house, especially because backup quarterbacks make millions and millions of dollars. If you can have a backup on a rookie deal that only makes $1 million, that's huge cost savings and great. Also, I love that Ron is out here impersonating everyone's favorite Lions fan, Don Burr. Detroit versus our practice squad. Hey, if Bagent is slinging it the way he did, Detroit's going to have some troubles. But I'm looking through the list too, just with the offense. Joe Reed had was it Joe Reed? No, Isaiah Ford. Isaiah Ford had a pretty good game. I got to give it to Dieter as well. I thought Dieter Iserlin came in and played well. And Dieter also played left guard and right guard, so tried to show some of that versatility. And PFF graded him at 92 with 17 blocking snaps. So they gave him an elite grade. So Dieter, Dieter with the elite. But yeah, this is the time where Homer played well, and I just thought that overall it just nobody really disappointed. I'm just kind of looking through because Josh Lugg.
Yeah, I would say I see. I'm talking about the receivers here. Is Dries Fountain is every who I thought he was. If we do need that big body receiver, if we do need a jump ball guy, he just does that every day of the week. What you saw in the preseason game, he does that all the time. Like, I was not surprised when that happened. Skokes probably wasn't very shocked either, because that's what he was hoping for. But as Simba Webster, I still think he keeps proving it to me. He's a consistent receiver.
Yeah.
He's not going to drop the ball, even if he gets lit up. Like, he catches the ball, he runs his routes, he does his job. And like, that's something. It's like, is that going to make him get the roster spot or something? Because he just does his job. And I think that could speak to Eberflus. But I honestly, Brad, these linemen looked good. I can't really complain too much. I don't know if you were able to see Doug Kramer at all. I didn't really watch him. I know Squeegee kind of says that Doug Kramer scares him, but I don't know what you saw.
Doug Kramer, last year, right? Last year when he played, I thought he looked really bad, and he played really bad. I thought he had a good day overall. Let me pull up his grade to see. But I thought overall he looked good. Let's see what he actually graded as. Doug Kramer, 82. So PFF liked what he did. He had 41 snaps. I didn't hate what he had, but Squeegee said Doug Kramer reminds him of Mustipher. He does to me as well, because I don't think that he brings a lot of power to his game like Mustipher did, but I think that he gives you the smarts, if you will, like knowing where to be, and just more so trades off his guys. But if he gets one-on-one versus a big D tackle, I don't like his chances. So I agree with that. But if he's your third string, if he's your backup, I don't mind that as much. And I feel so bad that I'm like trying to give Mustipher credit. Like Mustipher was a backup, right? And I think because we had him as the starter, it's like, why is this dude does not deserve to be a starter at all. But big question, you bring up Simba Webster. Would you rather have Simba Webster or Velus Jones?
I honestly, I'm glad you bring that up. I think that needs to be talked about more. Is like, it's hard because it's Simba Webster. Like, what you get from him. Like, he just is consistent, and it's almost like it's like kind of like almost like a Pettis. Would you rather have Pettis or Velus as well? It's like a guy that won't mess up. And honestly, Brad, like, if Velus has another turnover, I would just be like, hey, drop him and get Nisimba Webster into this roster, because Nisimba Webster also gives you special teams and does not turn over the ball. So I think that'd be, if Velus does this again of a turnover this preseason, it's like, how can you trust him? How can you trust him? Like, he could lose us a game because it's just terrible.
I think it's so hard because it's like Webster, I don't see has any potential, right?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Even though Velus is 57, like, even though Velus was the super old rookie, Velus still has that game-breaking potential. But he also has the game-breaking potential in the other way, in the sense of fumbling a kickoff or dropping a pass. And I think that's the hardest part. Is it's gonna be very interesting. That's where the preseason, Velus has a lot to he needs to instill that confidence into the coaching staff. He needs to show what he can do. He still has time to do that. But it's going to take a lot to do it. If you want to change the narrative, we've said this already, change the narrative, Velus. He needs to do that out here. But PayPal, I guess before we kind of wrap things up, I guess overall, who was the person that you had the most fun watching? And I'm going to ask that to everybody else out there too. For those watching on YouTube, let me know, who was your favorite person to watch?
Quick thing first.
Yeah.
Person I hated watching, Jared Pinkney. I think we should just erase him off our board. Real quick.
I actually, yes, that reminds me, because I literally had the tight ends up. That's why we signed Mercedes Lewis. Speaking of people who are 57, right? Mercedes Lewis, we signed him because Stephen Carlson did not look good, who's like our now fourth tight end. Jared Pinkney did not look good. Lachlan, yes, he only has like a practice in, but he got blown up a couple times trying to block. And yeah, like hopefully, let's see let's not cut bait with Lachlan yet because he needs practices, but the other guys the tight ends did not look good. Let's bring back, I know Tonjes had an injury designation, but yeah, where's Tonjes when he needs him?
Right. But yeah, honestly, to go back to your original question of like kind of the most fun people to watch and who I'm going to be kind of, excited to watch next time is Kyler Gordon. Obviously, we'll see if he even plays, but like DJ Moore, that was so fun to watch. And Trevis GIpson, I think those were kind of those top three guys of like, if we just kind of sum up, like they were so fun to watch. Trevis GIpson, honestly, I think he proved it to everyone. I think we were kind of, everyone was kind of like, oh boy, like we saw him on the fourth line on this depth chart. Like, oh gosh, like he's looking bad in camp, all this stuff. And it sounds like he was kind of hearing that. He took off social media, but he heard it probably from someone else on the team. Be like, hey, like, dude, like people are not liking you. And I think he took that the correct way and just took it into his game. Like you could tell he was just so like
pissed.
He was so pissed off, It was awesome. And the best, like one of our favorite like sack celebrations, Brad. It is so cool. And especially this time, after he was trying so hard the whole entire game, and then he finally got his sack and he was just waiting to do it. And he was awesome.
I think too, like we were saying it, where Terrell Lewis played well, right? Like Terrell Lewis looked good. He played well. I'm not discrediting him at all. Trevis GIpson looked so much better. And that's just, Trevis GIpson was insane. And I think that's the big difference. And I just closed out of my tab where I had the pass rush win rate. And I think Terrell Lewis's win rate was like 11%. Still very good. Very good win rate. And it just was, Trevis was on a whole nother level. But yeah, my favorite player to watch, this is one of my favorite things. We have Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens right next to each other. It makes watching preseason so much fun because all you have to do is watch right in the middle, and you got the two guys right there, and that's who you watch. That's all you got to do, and it makes it so simple, so incredibly like painless. You just watch the two, and I got to say maybe those, and then Roschon Johnson. Every time that he did that, we all like would get up and just start flexing because he's just a beast. He just plays like a man, and he's fun to watch. But man, PayPal, that's our show. That's our recap. If you are listening still, make sure to subscribe out there on YouTube. Like we've said before, every subscriber is one more passing yard that Justin Fields will get next season. Also, we continue to give away the Darnell Wright jersey. Make sure to rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts to enter yourself into the running. Once we reach 58, we will announce who won live on the show. PayPal, Bears win. Bears throw for 300%. You could just guarantee a Super Bowl already. But it's been great. With that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.